All right, so I'll demonstrate a couple of a couple of things with bridging behavior and stuff, and then we can kind of make sure we don't have questions. Okay. Around. So I can do directly to the reward if I choose, right? And I'm going to go around, and while he's going around, I just grab for the ball. If you're not fast enough, you get bit doing that. I have been bit, right? Out. Good boy. Or I can send him around and then not, or wait until he's in front of me and then get the reward out. Au pied. Back. See? Yeah, I know. Au pied. Watch. Around. Like this, I could get the reward out here, or au pied, back in, right? So if I'm mixing it, I can release him to reward or release him not to reward, or release him get out afterwards. You have choices there, right? Couché. Fold back down. See, he dropped and scooted his butt back as he laid down, so his elbows wind up where his front feet were. So you know, like that, right? When he laid there. Rest. Ready? Au pied. See? Couché. So he scoots back, right? Good boy. Au pied. See? Rest. So, the bridging behavior of through. So, I do it a lot on my retrieve. So, in ring, there isn't a recall to front for the recall. When I recall in ring, I recall him with a whistle, and he goes between my legs when he comes back, right? So if he recalls, he'll come between my legs. But for the retrieves, for both scent discrimination and the throw and retrieve, he retrieves to front, right? And so whatever thing I'm going to throw for him to retrieve, when I finish the bridging behavior there, he's going to go between my legs, right? And so, au pied. See, hold, rest. Apport. Yes, right? So you can go through to that, on back through to the thing that's behind me. So when I'll toss a ball behind, and then if I don't, I just send him, he'll go through, and then I can throw it afterwards. Or he can go through, and I can turn around and give it to him as well. Couché. And so when he retrieves something, he'll come here, he comes close in front, touches me, and then his release is to go between my legs to get the reward that's behind me, or that through bridging behavior, right? I did that one initially, and it's the only one I do that way, so I release him there with yes, because sometimes it's with me, sometimes it's on the ground, right? I talked about remote rewards. I have a different one for remote rewards, typically, but a lot of times when I started that, it's in my hand, and so now he knows it from that front, so typically, people would have a different bridge command for that. I use his normal release because when I taught it initially, I had the ball like this after, and I'd go, yes, and I'd go like that, and he'd dive through and grab it. And so it was with me, right? And then I started tossing it, and he knew that, so I just kept that one because it's specific to that situation. But it's possible that you could teach that one separately, right? As you did that, you could have through, you'd say through the same way that I say around when he's going around behind me, right? In those pieces, right? In Monday Ring, I have to retrieve all kinds of different stuff, so we practice with everything, right? He has to learn to have soft, fun objects, big, heavy objects, strings of things tied together, hairbrushes, wig, I don't know, whatever, right? So they get crazy, and you don't know the retrieve item until you go into a competition, and the judge picks a retrieve item. So there's a lot of practice with different kinds of retrieving items, right? And we teach all the holds and stuff that way. Monk, come here. See? Hold. Yes. Right. So they have to come up close in front because it's not out. out, monk, hey, thank you. Because it's not judged if they touch you in front, like I teach him to come close and touch me with his chin, right? And that can be an advantage in the sport that I do, in that if he has something that's really fun to chew on, and when he's resting his chin on me, he's less likely to chew on it, right? And so that come front, one, it's a black and white behavior for the dog. They get that all the way up to you and touch you, so it's pretty clear. So if I chose to apply pressure to that for some reason, then I could easily apply pressure and it's clear, right? Unlike proximity, which is not black and white, touching is black and white, so I choose black and white behaviors. But you wouldn't want to do that if you were doing an AKC dog. And technically, although some people do it in IGP, it's not correct. The dog's not supposed to touch you in front, but some people do. The dogs come up and they lightly touch in front, and depending on the judge and how strict they're being, if it's a club trial or a national trial, but I wouldn't teach my IGP dog to touch me in front, right? But it just happens that for ring we can do that, right? Oh, come here. Hold. Yes. So later in our work, formal retrieving, we proof holds a lot, right? So initially the reward's always out of sight when I'm doing hold and the dog holds, and then I want to make sure you keep holding it even if there's something you want nearby. Out. Upport. Yes. Yeah, good boy. Out. Au pied. Around. Out. Thank you. Couché. Shay. That's the slide back, right? So when you teeth are scoot back, shay, 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 and eventually it's shay. Double. Coup. Shay. Good boy. Double. Coup. Shay. Good. Assis. Coup. Shay. Double. Good boy. Yes. Good boy. Out. Couché. Cool. Somebody's excited. No, it's only in the down. Of course, yeah, sure. Oh, I can show you contact healing too. Au pied. Avec. Out. My other dog's remote release is get it. His, I make a little noise. Au pied. He's going to buy. Avec. I make a little noise, and that's his remote release. So if there's something away from me, that's typically what I use to bring. Avec, it says with. This is a cue to look at whatever's in front of you, right? Out. So sometimes if I've been doing a lot of focus healing, like in here, right? When I ask him to contact, he'll touch me, but then he tries to look at me. Au pied, right? And I want to keep those two things distinct and different. Au pied means you're looking at me. You got to watch me, right? If I want you to look away, avec. And I want to make sure, if he looks at me, I go like that. And he only gets it when he's looking at the object, right? So that way he learns to kind of maintain focus. Those are two distinct behaviors. One is look at me, the other is touch me, don't look at me, right? Out. Out. No, no, I do, like for a lot of the dogs, not him, I didn't do it with him, but a lot like Dub and my other dogs, all my general just walking around, right? And not the contact healing for them, but the general walking around, yeah, is on that side. So if I put him on my right, if I put my younger dog on the right side, then he knows we're not healing, we're not focused healing, we can walk along, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to look at me, nothing exciting is going to happen. I use it for moving around. He's fine, I wasn't having any problems with it polluting, so if I take him for a walk on a leash, he just walks, and he wants to be on my left because all of my stuff's on the left. For Dub, if I say foosing, is what I say, is he goes on my right side, and that means nothing's happening. He doesn't have to look at me, he just has to stay with me, we walk around. If I tell him au pied, he's going to come onto this side and look at me. And then if I tell him avec, he's going to touch me on the same side but not look at me. Avec, which means with in French, yeah. So the French command, so he has, that's his contact heel. Booger. No. Yes. Good boy. Out. Place. Sure. It starts out with a bunch of spatial, so it would normally be done with food, right? When I start with the young dogs, they're here, and I just start I hold food in front of their face, and I just push into them. When they back up, I say yes, right? And they grab it, and then it's built on, right? And so for him, imagine this was food. I do this so he doesn't punch me in the crotch, right? So I walk into him and he's going to back up, and when he's backing up, yes, he can get it, right? But that was done all initially with food in my hands and pushing them back, right? And so we do a lot of that, like in the young dogs, that's a big part of how we're kind of controlling them for downs and stands and a lot of that stuff. Out. It's also good. Monk, hey. Out. Thank you. I try to do it without, and I steer them. So like when I'm here and they rear side, I just turn their head a little and it straightens them out. I've gotten relatively good at sort of steering them backwards so they go straight. But if you have problems with it, you definitely can use a barrier, right? And so so go slower, break it down into smaller pieces. The dogs that have trouble with that, there's a coordination issue to it. Like you can see, he can walk backwards pretty fast. Like he's had lots of practice, and so he's quite coordinated at it. You start out very slowly and just break it down. 1 step, reward. 1 step, reward. 2 steps, right? So you get them staying focused, and they start to learn the coordination, and then you go back. But I can walk really quickly, and I can steer him around, and he'll flip all the way around. Yes. And so he's pretty good at it now, and he can move backwards relatively quickly. I also use that as a warm-up, right? When the dog, couche, out. The other out, thank you. And so I'll use that to use different muscles when they walk backwards. And so as part of the conditioning, they get lots of moving forward stuff. And I'll do a lot of walking them backwards to build the muscles. And I'll use it to warm them up before I jump them a lot. So I'll do some loose warm-ups, some spins and stuff to get their blood flowing. And then I'll make them walk backwards a little bit, and it loosens up the muscles, and then before I jump them a lot. And so it can be used for coordination exercise for obedience dogs, and it can also be used sort of as a building different muscles and that kind of stuff. All right, bud, good job. Okay. Good boy. I see. Avec. Good boy. Good. Let's go.